Alright, so I finally played the Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream Open Network Beta Test, and I have a lot to say about it. Some things good, some things bad, maybe a few things that you yourself are thinking as well. I've played with every available character so far in the beta, so in this video, I'm going to give you my thoughts. Now, if you're new here, please do me a favor and sub to the channel with notifications on if you like Sword Art Online games and want more videos like these, as well as guides and gameplay. And also, like the video, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks. Alright, so I'm going to break this video down in a way that I'd like to see it if I were a viewer. Get the big questions out of the way first. If I liked it, what I don't like about it, if it's worth it to pre-order this game to play it day one, is it better than the last Sword Art Online games, and is it really a sequel to SAO Fatal Bullet? Now, just as an aside here, if you are new to this channel, I have covered SAO Fatal Bullet for years and years, helped out hundreds of people who still to this day come by my main channel and thank me for my Fatal Bullet videos. So after I'm done talking about the big questions, I'll give you my thoughts on each of the beta characters, the game modes and gameplay, and then end with final thoughts about the game and hopes for the full game and the future of the game. Okay, so let's just start it off. Do I like the game? Absolutely, the game is definitely fun. Now, with that being said, I think once the game is fully released and we have more characters and game modes, it will probably be a lot more fun. As of right now, after playing with each character in both co-op and raid, it has me kind of burnt out, not really wanting to play anymore today, and that just could be because of a lack of variety or something specifically to play for, like with previous SAO games, as in going through a story, unlocking abilities and weapon skills, etc. My first initial thought of the game is that it reminds me more of My Hero Academia Rumble than an SAO game where you're dropped in and you're looking around the map for buffs. I thought it was cool how you could choose to run around the map alone or with your squad. My first co-op game that I played, me and a random broke off from our group and just ran around killing enemies until we finally joined with the bigger group. And about that bigger group, I thought for sure I was going to hit a brick wall of lag with all players playing together on screen, but surprisingly, I ran into zero lag, and the gameplay with all 20 players sharing the same zone on screen was seamless. The boss fights themselves were especially cool. Now, I don't know how tougher raids or boss fights are going to be, but I was happy to see that you could take a few boss hits before you die. You're not just completely one-shot every single time. Now, I don't care too much for this MOBA-like system of leveling up in each specific game. I rather like the idea of being able to grind the crap out of my character and having my time played show itself by me just blowing everyone else out of the water in damage. I do see how this system is needed though, so that that exact thing doesn't happen and ruins everyone's experience. I do see, however, that there is a sort of time played reward system in place where you can have more and better passives unlocked for your character as well as better equipment, so that's a happy trade-off. Now, the visuals look really good. Not exactly 2024 PlayStation 5 Next Gen good, but I like these models and assets a lot better than the last two Sword Art Online games. Does it feel like a second Fatal Bullet so far? No. And I'm not sure how that makes me feel. It looks kind of like Fatal Bullet, using some of the same enemies, and the character models look like Fatal Bullet models, but that's about it as far as huge similarities to Fatal Bullet. There are some obvious things that come straight from Fatal Bullet, like when you pick up a fallen ally, or some skills and whole characters like Lyn. They do kind of give you a Fatal Bullet feel, but it's definitely not a Fatal Bullet game. I'd say it's a new game inspired by Fatal Bullet, and I'm okay with it, like super okay with it, because I absolutely dislike the Alicization style. So to get it out of the way, is the game worth it? Is it a day one cop? Yeah, absolutely it is. So far, is it better than the last two SAO games? So far, I can't say yes. What I can say is this. This game is automatically more fun than the last two games because of certain elements that I'm going to talk about in a few seconds, but if I were basing my opinions of the game solely off what they're letting us play in the beta, I'd have to say no, because the two game modes are just repetitive and boring without a bigger roster of characters and the ability to change things. It kind of makes me feel like the beta test is just that, a test to show you what the game is like. Now, the full game with story mode and a more variety of characters and abilities, yeah, I think this title is going to absolutely blow the last two games out of the water. Now, when it comes to the characters they allow us to use, and I gotta say here that I'm super disappointed that it didn't include Alice, Yujiro, or Yuki in the beta. Seems dumb to me to leave out your big selling points and instead add in Oberon. So, first off, don't like Kirito at all in this beta. For the first time in an SAO game, he seems like the most uninteresting character on the roster, and I hope I hope to God that in the full game he can do more as far as being able to use versions of Kirito from each of the online games he's played in the anime, or at the very least allow us to use a created character that can mix and match weapons and abilities across all SAO anime game types, because honestly the most fun character for me to use in the beta right now is Leafa. Flying feels like so much fun in the game, and they did it absolutely right. Now, I hate that you run out of stamina and you have to land, but at the same time, I like that they put limitations on it, and I hope there will be a lot of ways to augment your flying with items and equipment more than just the buffs that you find lying around the map. Leifa's abilities seem mid, but they are true to the anime, and using her makes me feel like I'm her actual character from the anime. The first character I used was Asuna, and normally I don't like Asuna in any SAO game, but she's probably my second favorite character after Leifa in the beta. She's basic and easy to use. The Fatal Bullet characters though, Lin, Shinon, and Fukizairo, I guess her name is, surprisingly feel good and exactly how I picture them, like GGO characters in a different setting. Out of the three, Lin is the easiest one to use because all she does is aim and shoot, and she's agile. I like her skills and animation. It makes it fun and simple to deal damage without having to learn too much. Fukizairo was kind of the same way, easy to pick up and understand. Instead of having an ultimate gauge like everyone else, she has the ability to change ammo types that allow you to adjust your damage to enemy weaknesses, which is huge, and she has like a healing straight from Fatal Bullet right on her skill palette, which is like really huge for co-op. Shinon took a little bit to get used to. She is a sniper, and they made sure that you are better off sitting in the back and aiming at enemies, staying true to the anime, which I really do respect. Not my favorite character to use, but a lot of times playing the beta today, Shinon has always got the last hit on like every single boss, and I'm just like, maybe I should be using Shinon more. Egil, I think his name is. People always like correct me and say Agil or Egil. I don't know. In the anime, Kirito calls him Egil. He's a tank, and he feels more like a heavy weapon DPS than a tank, but his guarding actually works to mitigate damage. I just hope there is a way to definitively taunt bosses into looking at a tank more than what's in this beta. Now, Oberon is kind of fun. He can fly, he's a mage, he does damage with big AoE magic attacks. I like that. His basic attack includes ranged magic right in the basic attack. He also summons like a helper to deal damage. I think it's cool, but I just don't like the character in the anime. I thought he was weird, thought he was creepy. I just didn't like the character. So I think that in turn makes me not like the character in game. But if I'm putting all like the character that I don't like aside, I think Oberon is probably one of the most powerful characters in the beta based on his abilities. Argo is another character that I just didn't really care too much for in the anime, but the way they made her character into like Wolverine into this game with the claws definitely makes her one of the better DPS. I actually like using Argo more than Kirito, which is wild to me. Now, co-op is fine. I talked a little bit about that already, and I'll just add in, I like how the map has different elevations, how all 20 players are on the same map, just in different areas doing different things, and have the ability to run into each other. It reminds me of previous SAO titles where there are groups of traveling NPCs doing their own thing, but in this game, the NPCs are actual players. I just fear, and I hate to say this, I don't want to call it into existence, but I fear a future version of this game mode where it's just a couple real players and the rest are all just NPCs, making this game mode just pointless to play. I hope the devs, and I hope they're listening, I hope the devs continue to add items and weapons that you can only obtain in this game mode that are completely necessary for higher level gameplay to keep this game mode active. I feel like with no incentive to play co-op, no one is going to turn on SAO Fractured Dream and say, I can't wait to do co-op. I feel like raids will be the only thing that people will be interested in, as in with the last couple of SAO games, because of the higher level equipment being dropped from raid bosses. Now, as far as the raid game mode goes, I think it's genius. I hope that other raids in the actual game follow this model. No having to go through like a small dungeon where you have to unlock doors, fight smaller bosses just to get to the big boss. I like the idea of loading in and just fighting the boss in an arena. I do not love the idea of needing to level up your character every single time to unlock your abilities. I honestly think needing to unlock your skill palette every time is just dumb, but it's not a deal breaker. The game and game mode is fun regardless, and I think a lot of people are going to really love playing raids. So, final thoughts and hope for the game. I hope that we can equip every weapon type on Kirito, as well as give him wings and change his ability to basically anything, essentially making him into a created character as with other SAO games. I hope they give us the ability to completely customize his character as far as his size, color scheme, and his abilities. Without that, I don't think a lot of people are going to pick up this game because it may resemble Fatal Bullet, but it's not Fatal Bullet, and a lot of people, like including myself, were waiting for a Fatal Bullet 2, and this just it isn't it. It's not a bad game by any means. It's still great, still fun, and if nothing else, way better than the last 2 SAO games that we had. And I'm gonna play the crap out of this game when it releases next month. I'm happy with the way it is, and I can't wait to see how my favorite characters play and what they do for DLC and what the other game modes are going to look like. Now, I'm going to make video guides for as much as I can for this game when it's released, as far as how to get better weapons, how to unlock skills, and easy breakdowns of characters and their mechanics. So if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for SAO and turn those notifications on. If you have any questions, thoughts, or anything else, please don't hesitate to let me know down in the comments so we can have like a huge discussion on it. I'm seriously thinking about starting a Discord server for this game so I can have people to play with specifically. So if nothing else in the comments, let me know if you'd be down to join something like that. Alright guys, my name is Ventus, and thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Peace out.